Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. All right, so this is kind of an odd time of year to be talking about tax professionals. And mainly, what are some red flags that show that your tax professional, that your tax preparer may be a fraud? Okay, because the truth is that just one of these things is generally not, indicative that you're dealing with someone fraudulent. But when you put the picture together, it kind of does. Now, I want to start out with saying that just because a person has credentials does not mean that they are always on the up and up, because there are still shady professionals out there. There's shady credentialed professionals out there. So you have to be really aware as a consumer. Okay. So whether I say tax preparer, tax professional, you know what? If somebody's doing taxes, I don't care what kind of letters are behind their names. If they're not really performing and preparing your taxes ethically, you just need to run in the other direction. Okay. All right. Number one is the promise of a refund. I need us to get our eyes off the dollar signs, because if someone says, oh yeah, I can get you a refund, but they haven't even looked at your documents, that is not the truth. Okay. Because not everyone is entitled to a refund. A refund happens when you overpay your taxes based on your income, your deductions and credits and whatnot. And so if somebody just looks at you and says, oh yeah, I can get you a refund, that is a red flag for you to run in the other direction, because they haven't looked at any of your documents or anything like that. Now, there is a difference between promising someone a refund and promising someone the largest allowable refund, because allowable means we're talking about working within the confines of the law. Okay. So if your largest allowable refund is $125, then I've done my job. Okay. But if I'm just going to promise you a refund, period, and I haven't looked at anything, well, that's something completely different. So don't get caught up in the wording, because, with marketing, that's some of the things that you see out there, will get you the largest allowable refund. Well, the largest allowable refund is legal. Just promising someone a refund off the bat, not so much. All right. So number two is they're only available during tax season. All right. So there are a lot of people that just pop up between January and April 15th. They're only available from the time the IRS is accepting returns until the filing deadline. Okay. That is something that should give you pause, because a tax professional is going to be available all throughout the year, even in the off season, even if it's on a limited basis. Because really, your tax professional, you should be able to contact them throughout the year if something happens. That's just the way it is. There are, even with the tax franchises, the busy season is from January to April, but they still operate on a limited basis throughout the year, so that you can reach out for some help in case you have to amend some taxes, you get a letter from the IRS, what have you. But someone that you can't find after April 15th, I really encourage you to not file your taxes with that person, because then if something goes wrong, you can't find them, then you're going to have to hire someone else to help you with that situation. And that new tax professional, you're going to have to pay them. Okay. And it's unfair to you as the taxpayer, because you're saying, okay, I've already paid someone to prepare my taxes. Why do I have to prepare you? Well, it's not the same person. Okay, so I just want to make sure you understand that. All right, number three, their fee is based on the size of your refund. That is a huge red flag, because if their fee is based on the amount of a refund that you receive, that's an incentive to give you, or put some credits or deductions, inflate some deductions on your tax return to increase your refund so that they can get more money. There are different types of ways that people base their fees. There are some people that are flat fee. There are some people that base, their returns on the amount of time it's gonna take to prepare your return. There are, sometimes people charge based on the different types of forms that you have. So there's different types of pricing structures. But if somebody is simply saying that, their fee is going to be based on the amount of a refund that you receive, don't do that. That's don'tdothat.com. Okay. All right. Number 4. Using non-commercial software. Now, again, this alone is not a red flag, but it should be something to give you pause. If someone is preparing your taxes, they call themselves a tax professional, and they're using, home-based software to prepare your taxes, then they're not e-filing your taxes, because you only can get, I do believe, 5 filings from your at-home do-it-yourself software. You can only get 5. So at some point, everybody else is going to be filing paper returns. I had this happen with several clients last year where, after they've gone to get their taxes done, then they're being told to mail their returns. Like, why can't we e-file? Well, because with home-based tax software, it's based on your IP address. So once that IP address has submitted the limit, then everything else is going to be paper, and they're not going to be able to e-file any more returns. And it doesn't matter if you upload a new set of software, it's based on your IP address. Okay. So non-commercial software is a red flag. Number 5, they don't review your return with you. Now, this is a huge, huge thing for me. And the reason is that you have to understand that as the taxpayer, when you sign your return, whether it's electronically or whether it's physically, you are signing under penalty of perjury that everything in that return is true and correct. So if you don't know what's in the return, then you're perjuring yourself. And oh, by the way, perjury is a felony, just letting you know. So if you don't take the time to go through that return to see what's in it, did it change from this year to last year? And if so, why? It's important to know why your return changes, whether it's because, a kid aged out of the earned, of the child tax credit or whatever. So you as a taxpayer have to be responsible for knowing what's in that return. And if there's something that you don't understand or you don't agree with, you don't let that return get filed, because you are ultimately responsible for that return. Okay. So number 6, they don't ask you for proof of anything. No W-2s, no business income, all of that. Okay. So it is, as a tax professional, it's important for me, that's, as a part of my job, to look to you to say, hey, I need documentation for this stuff. I need to see your W-2. I need to see the records that you have for your business income, for your investment expenses, for your daycare expenses, all that. Those are things that are requirements from us, for us to be doing our job, really within the limits of the law. Okay. Because the other thing that you also have to understand is tax professionals, we get fined too. If we don't do our job the way that we're supposed to, as prescribed by the IRS and the Office of Professional Responsibility, we get fined too. So, so if they're not asking you for proof of anything, if they're not asking for proof of your child living with you or anything like that. And a lot of times taxpayers get upset with tax professionals for asking for this documentation, but there's a reason, because at the end of the day, if we prepare a return without the proper documentation, we can get fined as well. And for you, the taxpayer, if you wind up claiming tax credits and deductions that you're not entitled to, when the IRS finds out, they're going to be coming back for you for their money. Okay. So please be patient with your tax professionals when they're asking you for this documentation, because that's their job. All right. And for you, it's also going to help you and protect you as well, because if you can't provide that documentation, then don't get upset with someone who doesn't prepare that return, because ultimately they're trying to keep you out of trouble with the IRS. Okay. And number 7, they ask you to sign a blank or partially blank return. Believe it or not, there are people who still send in handwritten returns. Yes. There's nothing illegal about it, but they do. But the last thing that you want to do is put your signature on a tax return that's incomplete, that doesn't have the schedules and everything. Again, that goes back to reviewing your return. But when you sign something and then you leave it open, you have no clue as to what that tax preparer is doing. Okay. And that's not in a place that you want to be. And again, it doesn't matter if you're dealing with somebody that's sitting in this huge, building and got all these, 6 miles of letters behind their names, or if it's just one little solo person. If there is something that doesn't seem right, doesn't feel right, then run in the other direction. Go get a second opinion. It's okay. And, and the other thing I will challenge you to, again, is to take your eyes off of the refund. All right. Because not everybody is entitled to a refund. And I've lost clients because, well, so-and-so said they can get me X amount back. Okay. Just because someone can get something back doesn't mean that they legally got it back. And so when the Justice Department catches up with these fraudulent tax preparers and tax professionals, they can be CPAs, they can be EAs, they don't even have to have any type of credentials. When the Justice Department catches up with these people, they're going to jail. We're getting news about it every day where tax professionals are going to jail for filing fraudulent returns, for understating tax liability, for filing fraudulent Schedule Cs so that they can increase refunds for their clients. It's happening nationwide. So that's why you as the taxpayer have to be diligent, because at the end of the day, you are the one who reaped the benefit by getting money that you really were not entitled to. So I have to really caution you that, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is, and it's okay to go somewhere else. You're not stuck with dealing with one person, and and don't get your taxes prepared solely based on pricing, because just because so and so spends charges $80 doesn't mean that so and so knows what they're doing. Because during tax season, everybody wants to be a tax professional. You go to the grocery store, they're preparing tax returns. I've seen car dealerships prepare tax returns. I've seen people they just punch in some numbers, have no idea, but because they can get their hands on some commercial software and prepare a tax ID number, then boom, you're in business. You really have to know who you're dealing with. And just because someone has a preparer tax ID, also called a P10, it doesn't mean that they're endorsed by the IRS. The IRS does not endorse anyone. Okay. You have to do that vetting yourself. Okay, so if somebody says I'm endorsed by the IRS, they are not. The IRS endorses no one. They issue the certification for enrolled agents and different other types of professions, but they don't endorse anyone. That doesn't say that they're not implying that this person is a competent tax professional, because they don't know just based off of a prepare a tax ID number if they're participating in the annual filing season program, if they're, up with their continuing education and all of that. So that's where you have to, like I said, you have to be a smarter consumer and know who you are dealing with, and, hope that you are dealing with a reputable tax preparer. But those are some warning signs, you guys, that you can, that you can kind of keep in mind as you go forward into this fourth quarter and start looking for your tax professional. Look for your tax professional now. Right? Look for your tax professional, make connections with people. If they offer a 15-minute or whatever complimentary consult, I don't care if it's 5 minutes, take the opportunity to speak to them, get to know them, to see if they're going to be a good fit for you. Okay? So guys, thank you so much for tuning into Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish, and you can tune in here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right, have a great day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.